The 1974 movie that you guys chose was Godzilla vs. MechaGodzilla, and I'm so glad that you guys chose it. So before I watched Godzilla vs. MechaGodzilla, I went back and watched the original Godzilla movie from 1954. Going from the original Godzilla to Godzilla vs. MechaGodzilla is like going from Iron Man,
yeah, I can fly,
to going to Infinity War.
Where is Gamora?
Yeah, I'll do you one better. Who's Gamora?
I'll do you one better. Why is Gamora?
Godzilla vs. MechaGodzilla is absolutely insane. Aliens have come down to take over the Earth by disguising a giant cyborg in the shape of Godzilla to terrorize all of Japan. There's also a prophecy that's being had
Oh, grandfather!
What's the matter with you, my child?
A monster! A monster will set fire to the city and trample on the people who try to run away.
Although in the vision that the woman had, it was actually King Ghidorah. So is MechaGodzilla even the threat that was being prophesied about? Now that prophecy I just mentioned was kind of the crux and the driving force behind this movie. The aliens are after a totem that is the key to summoning King Caesar or Caesar.
Prophecy of some sort.
A prophecy? Come and look at this. This one looks like one of them. You know what it is?
Probably. The guardian of the Azumis. He's called King Caesar.
King Caesar?
And this prophecy says,
when Black Mountain appears above the clouds, a monster will destroy the world.
and when we see the Black Cloud, two of our protagonists are on the plane, and one of the funniest directing choices I've ever seen happens. One of our main archaeologists reminisces about the vision that the woman had and the warning that she gave, but the way that it's shown is insane.
But when the red moon sets and the sun rises west, two monsters will appear to save the people.
A monster! A monster will set fire to the city and trample on the people who try to run away.
Actually, this is where our characters are introduced to the super spy.
And who are you?
I'm a freelance reporter, but you could call me a scandal hunter. Well, let me explain. I'm interested in the statue you found too. If I can get a scoop, I'll make a lot of money. So, I hope you'll help me.
Not creepy at all. And not to mention the creepiness of that, for some reason, this dude is Captain Collar. You can tell that this man spends a lot of time worrying about how his collar looks. And overall, he's just a really interesting character who I believe thinks he's a lot cooler than he comes off. He's really clutch as well. He comes through all throughout the movie, saving our main protagonist, sometimes without them even knowing. And as I'm sure you've noticed, I haven't been talking about Godzilla a lot. And that's because he's not really in this movie a lot. He's in like maybe 3 or 4 scenes. This movie hinges on the humans and I guess the aliens. Typically, I can't stand when the Kaiju movie focuses on the humans. For me, I want the Kaiju movie to focus on the Kaiju, which seems to never happen. But in this particular instance, these characters are so hilarious that I was having a blast just watching them be ridiculous. When a character is just driving and looking out of his window, and for some reason, he's doing this with his steering wheel.
Something's wrong. Anguirus shouldn't attack his friend, Godzilla.
But driving straight, I'm like, sir, that is not how you drive. Let's talk a little bit about Godzilla before we get back to the aliens and the humans. Eventually, MechaGodzilla shows up, but he shows up looking like Godzilla. One of the other Kaiju, who are apparently a friend of Godzilla, attacks him immediately. And what happens is a beatdown. This armadillo Kaiju gets his ass kicked. He's getting lifted up and thrown down. He's getting swung around, thrown throughout the city, getting his jaw broken, and it's really bloody, and the blood looks a little funny, but it's really bloody, and it's just like, dude, like, you don't have to treat dude like that. But one of the things that this kaiju does help with is revealing the fact that this is in fact MechaGodzilla, because he actually does get a good hit on him and reveals the metal underneath, which I swore just looked like clear duct tape. Now eventually, as MechaGodzilla continues to terrorize Japan, Godzilla comes out to defend Japan. The way he enters one of the weirdest ways possible is not through sea, but through a building. Why did Godzilla just decide to come through a building? It's never explained, and that's okay, because the movie's ridiculous, and I'm having a good time.
Now I get it. The one that came out of Mount Fuji is a cyborg.
Cyborg?
It is made out of the space metal. You could call it a MechaGodzilla.
So during this fight, these two are testing each other out. Eventually, Godzilla hits him with an atomic blast, dead center in the middle of the chest, and he basically exposes MechaGodzilla for who he is.
Damn Godzilla. You're mistaken if you think your powers are a match for MechaGodzilla.
As the fight goes on, even though MechaGodzilla's a little shifty, and he's got some technology that deflects and reflects some of Godzilla's beams, he still can't get the upper hand on Godzilla. He gets some hits in, but for the most part, he takes enough damage for the aliens to call his behind back. He flies away. After this, we really don't see Godzilla much at all until the end of the movie. We do see him healing up by going to a mountain and entering into a lightning storm to charge himself up or heal himself. That's really about it until the very end of the film. So with that being said, this gives me an opportunity to talk more about the aliens and the humans involved. So if you recall, I was telling you about how the aliens want that totem so that they can prevent the prophecy from happening. They sent one of their goons to just come through the window.
I want the statue!
Cowler guy is outside spying on people. I mean, he's Interpol, so I guess that's kind of his job. Now, I want to get to the most important thing in this entire movie. There's an entire boat sequence that's brought on by one of our protagonists. And the reason why they're on this boat is because apparently the aliens don't think people will get on boats to escape from them.
The spaceman will never guess we're taking the Coral Queen to Okinawa. I'll run him by sea.
We're outsmarting them this time.
So the same alien spy who found them at their home finds them on the boat. The woman who's protecting this totem, she goes into her room. She's dead asleep. He walks over to the briefcase that he believes the artifact is in. I don't know why he didn't just pick up the case and walk out instead of doing all that unwrapping in the room. And she doesn't wake up. She don't hear a peep. He's able to take the whole artifact out of the case and get it back to his room where he can keep it until he's able to get off the boat. But little does he know the humans were suspecting this, and he gets ambushed by the person who was the woman's partner. And they get into a fight. The alien pulls a gun, he gets it knocked out of his hand, he pulls out a knife, he cuts the guy's hand to get him off him, and eventually flips the human over the bed who grabs the gun and shoots him in the face. And he's dead, right? Because you shot him in the face. That's not what happens. He eventually catches up to him. He gets put in a bad situation where the alien can get him, and Super Spy Guy shoots him from around the corner. And he falls off the boat with the artifact. But little did our alien friend know, that artifact was a fake, and they planned this the entire time. So why did he say they'll never find us here? And most importantly, why did you put yourself in danger by chasing this person who had the fake? I know you want information, but let them go do what they want to do, because obviously he's pulling guns on you. Leave him be. But I'm kind of glad that he didn't leave him be, because we got to see a half an ape's face. Unofficially, and I'm making this up, but unofficially, the Planet of the Apes from a different planet have created a MechaGodzilla to take over Earth by killing Godzilla to get him out of the way and destroying Japan for world domination. That's the story of this movie. I know I said it in the beginning, but I want to reiterate that that is the story of this movie, and that's why this movie is awesome. They get back to the place where the prophecy was originally given. Now our woman who gave the prophecy in the first place has to go to a beach to sing a 3-minute ballad to waken up King Caesar. Godzilla and King Caesar start their fight with MechaGodzilla, and King Caesar is basically useless during this fight. He got woken up to a beatdown, basically. And during this fight, it definitely seems like MechaGodzilla has been upgraded, or at least he hadn't shown these powers before. He's whooping their ass. MechaGodzilla is getting up and flying directly at Godzilla at certain points, but as you know, Godzilla definitely came back. And eventually he pulls MechaGodzilla back to himself. Like a magnet, he just knocks his head right off. The aliens are defeated, MechaGodzilla's knocked off, and there we go. Godzilla vs. MechaGodzilla is over. So what did I think about this movie? This was great. I had a great time watching this movie, and would love to watch any other kaiju movie that's just as crazy as this. I've seen Pacific Rim, I've seen the most recent Godzilla movie, Godzilla vs. Kong, which was great and had a lot of crazy things happening in that. All right, y'all, thank you so much for joining me in the Unseen Movie Marathon 1974. Talk to you soon.